Assalamu alaikum, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I would like to say a big thank you to this young personal. The fact is, when I asked him, we have to talk about Madina Girls School, he said, yeah, please Faheem, do welcome. By this, I want to introduce a young, dynamic, educationist, philanthropist, Mr. Fasiuddin. Thank you very much, Mr. Fasiuddin.
Most welcome.
Now, see, today we are here. What's my intention is, we want entire community, entire our India comes to know what's about Madina Girls School.
See, actually, this is a part of Madina Education Welfare Society, and we have more than 14 institutions in total. And this is a recent startup. Actually, you can say 2018 maybe started this girls' school, and Alhamdulillah, by God's grace, this has gone very well, and the response is very good. This particular school we started because there was a requirement from our parents of our existing institutions saying slightly from a conservative point of view, that they don't want their daughters to be studying in co-ed schools. So which was the reason we started our girls' school over here. And I thought we had a junior college over here running for the past many number of years, but we thought this is a better option, and especially there's a demand coming from the parents especially. So we started a girls' school over here.
Fantastic. The best part, why I have emphasized the word philanthropist, educationist is because the great, K.M Fasiuddin sir, late, unfortunately, he's expired in 2020, 2 years before. He had given such a great insight to this young person is, when I asked him, what's your insight about education? So he told me that the reason we have started this school is because a lot of parents had requested to have this, a great school. That's very nice of you. Now, what about this COVID thing? Now, how students are coping up, Mr. Fasi?
See, actually, Mr. Faheem, what happened is, on March 15th, the education institutions in 2020, March 15th, the institutions were closed down by the government.
True.
22nd was a Janta curfew, if you remember, 22nd of March.
Very true.
On 15th March, but the government had asked us to close down all the institutions.
Okay.
So we had to close down. But on the 17th of March, we had already started with our online classes.
Fantastic. That innovation was there.
So we were already proactive. My sister is also involved in our institutions and our schools. And so we were very proactive with this, and my sister also had planned with this, and we had planned in a streamlined way how to do this. And we were slightly proactive, thinking about the China situation since November, December. So we were already planning for a couple of months. This might happen, Bulke. So we were already prepared. So which is why it went without a hiccup. And Alhamdulillah, by God's grace, what happened is, the general feedback is that we were among the best schools in the city for running online classes.
Fantastic.
We streamlined it in such a way, we did not need to buy any application, anything like that. We streamlined it in our internal way as much as possible, and now it is running so smooth that the parents are not willing to send the children at all. They are saying, yeah, online only we are doing so good. The children are so happy, are enjoying so much, we don't need to come to the school at all.
Fantastic. But the point why I emphasize the word innovation is, do you imagine when you talk about 17th March, that means when government is about to close, they have taken an initiative. That's very appreciative, Ms. Fasi. Now, what I want is, do you think students these 2 years, was it really students enjoyed, or they struggled, or have they learned something?
See, from our point of view, more than the students, actually the parents suffered a lot, I believe, because it's not easy. The parents are generally used to sending the children from home to school at Subham and 8:30, 9 a.m. like that, and the children are generally back from school at around 4 5 p.m. like that. So they are not used to handling the children at all for so many hours straight. So that is one point, the parents suffered a lot, but we took care of that. But we were very, very careful with the fact how to run online classes. We were very careful on the timings aspect, on the students' capability aspect, to screen time aspect, and all those things. I'm sure the students enjoyed a lot, but at the same time, one thing which mattered a lot was that them staying at home, which they're not used to at all. This is the age where the children need to get out of their homes, and also we understand that, but we try to make it as comfortable as possible for them.
The fact is, what Mr. Fasi had explained, it's perfectly true. The fact is, he had been very clear saying that parents suffered a lot. Very nice of you, Mr. Fasi. Now, what I want is, since you have spoken about education, now I want about you as a young 30-year-old gentleman. You're taking off so many institutions. I just want to know, how many students do you have? What are the institutions you're taking care, and how you're coping up? Because at this young age, most of the children, they think of something, but
Yeah.
you are creating an empire. So I want to know what's all about, from where you got all those things.
See, actually, what happened is I'm 31 years of age, and I'm sure I look older. I don't know, but I am 31.
Okay.
So what happened is since I was very young, my father used to I used to travel a lot with my father. So basically, wherever he used to go, I didn't have any holidays because whenever I was free because of Sundays or holidays, I used to be with my father. And that learning experience, because just traveling with my father was another level altogether, and I cannot thank him enough for taking me along with him. And basically, I learned from a very hands-on approach, and learning the trade, you call it. I just learned it looking at him. So I learned a lot that way. And so for the past around 10 years, I've been looking at the legalities of the institutions. I've been looking at those. And on and off, because I was just completing my engineering. I was 21, 22 at the time. So in the school and the colleges and all, I used to be a little involved once in a while like that. So like that I learned, and I used to see all this since I was a child. So it wasn't very difficult that way.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
He's quite honest, because in Urdu we had a word, we call it as sohbat-e sadiqeen. The best part was his dad had given him everything. He's so thankful, so obedient to his dad, because when I got to know what he told me, like he wanted to fly to America, but when his dad told that, let's be in India and consolidate India and make India the best in the world. So he had listened to his father. That's very nice of you. Apart from that, the best part what he told is, like in English we call it as, with whom you are, you will become like that. So he's got a great insight from his dad. That's very nice of you. Now, Mr. Fasiq, what I want to ask is, I want from Hyderabad, from our Telangana, at least 10 IAS officers.
Yeah.
How do you think? What are your plannings? What are your strategies? How? Because you've got such a great education name. Do you have anything in pipeline?
See, first and foremost, actually, out of 10, 2 you would have had for my family only.
Oh, really?
I got selected. Because my older brother, who passed away 10 years back, he was an IRS officer, a civil servant.
Oh.
And my father had plans for me to become a civil servant. Not just father, I had plans, but I could not get selected for various reasons. Blessing in disguise was that I got involved in institutions. That's another matter altogether. But we already had a civil services academy running over here long back. I don't know if you know this, in this building.
Okay.
On our terrace, on our top floor. So what happened is, we were giving free coaching, free food, free accommodation to aspirants of civil services. But the problem was that our community is not taking advantage of it at all. Not at all. That was a problem because of which we had to close it down. Another thing, what we are doing for the past 40 years now is, if any student of ours, right now, for example, we have 8,000 students in our institutions. Out of any 8,000 students, if anybody gets selected in civil services, we are going to give them 1 lakh cash award.
Oh,
Right?
fantastic.
So we are promoting them that way. And one of the things is that, in our schools also, because they are very young, from the 7th or 8th standard, when they are 10, 11, 12 years of age, we are promoting civil services as much as possible. Because the aim you have, the vision you have, we have been trying to do it for the past 40 years.
Fantastic. Okay, and do you have some sort of support for, financially deprived students? Do you have something
Of course,
for them?
of course. We have various scholarship schemes. We have Millat Foundation running with our society. Millat Foundation, it's a trust, charitable trust formed by us to help and empower students who are financially from a certain weaker section of the society. And first and foremost, there is no discrimination in admissions in any of the institutions. And in particularly, it was a motive of my father. It is in our bylaws that we have to maintain the standards of education on par with the best in the country. But again, the finances, the fee structures of our institutions are the bare minimum. You can compare it with any institution in the city, in Telangana, in Hyderabad. You'll find out that the fee structures of all our institutions, engineering colleges, pharmacy, MBA colleges, BEd, junior colleges, schools, degree college, everything is the bare minimum.
Fantastic. That's very nice. The point what I understood is, it's not only about money. What's their intention is to give quality education.
Even I would like to add to this is, as soon as COVID started, so my father was still alive when COVID had started. So immediately what he said, before the government had announced it, he said that people are struggling because they don't have money right now. So let's reduce the fee structure immediately. So within a couple of months or 1 month after COVID started, we reduced the entire fee structure of our institutions by 25%. Immediately.
That's very
100 रुपए जाके 75 rupees हो गए immediately. And then if any student's parent, father or mother had passed away due to COVID in our school, we were giving them a straight away discount of 50%. And add to that, in our engineering college, if any student has come for admission and his father or mother had passed away, we were giving them complete free education from first year to fourth year without any added cost whatsoever. So that was what we were doing during COVID.
That's what I really appreciate. Their intention is quite clear. They're emphasizing on quality education. That's very nice. Now, Fasi, what I want to ask is, what's your vision 2030? Where do you look forward? What exactly you want to do? Because you're such a young person and such a great institute you have. What's your vision?
See, you might have heard of National Education Policy, NEP 2020. So the government has formulated a plan for education for the next multiple decades. It's called the National Education Policy. It's very complicated. It's very elaborate also if you look into it. So we are planning according to it. And what we are doing is, coming to our technical institutions, our professional colleges, we are planning to have a university in the next 5 years.
Fantastic.
We are planning to develop into an autonomous institution. Then we are planning to expand it into a university campus. And I am not looking at any institutions in Hyderabad. I'm directly looking at IITs. And I'm comparing our institutions to IITs. And we are planning to expand our institutions. And not just the infrastructure we are talking about. Infrastructure to yaar gutedar bhi bana dega, contractor bana dega thera. That's not the point of an institution. A technical institution develops because of research. Because of research, projects, funding, and what the students are doing. What is the outcome? Because generally people are focusing on admissions, income. People are not focusing on outcome. So regarding our technical institutions, we are comparing ourselves to IITs. And hopefully you're talking about next 10 years, we will be a university, fully fledged university along the lines of, you might call a Manipal or a BITS or an IIT. That's the way. Regarding our schools, we are planning to expand our schools. See, we do not believe in the fact that we are not a very commercial organization, if I may say so. So we are not into the franchisee model. We are not planning to expand it in such a way that the quality decreases. We'll probably go for another one branch, another two branches in the next 10 years with our school. But again, it will be a very big plan.
And I completely understand. You've got a great thought process. Now, why don't you have tie-up with international schools? Why don't? Because I want to see that. Don't you think that it's possible?
It is,
because the name of your institute, such a great name. Why don't you go tie-up with some best of the best top 10 school sectors? I'm not talking about universities. Because don't you think you can do that?
We can do that. We can do that. And it is something we have discussed and something definitely we are working on. But again, my meaning is, what I'm trying to say is, we don't take our institutions lightly at all, because this is a legacy, and by God's grace, our school, main school at Himayatnagar, has been running for more than 42 years now, right? Many have started after us and closed before us now, even by now. I don't want to name anything, but many have started and closed down. But we are running because we are very careful with who we tie up with, who we give our work to, who we appoint, and everything. We are super careful about it. Even one school is there, we want to run it with proper quality and infrastructure. So yeah, it is in the pipeline. We are discussing about it, and we are in touch with certain people. But yeah, things will be taken forward.
That's fantastic. That's the reason. My intention is quite clear. Why I want to meet a dynamic philanthropist, educationist is because the knowledge what he has and the knowledge he wants to impart, and the ideas, the innovation, and the thought process is quite clear. Quality education, everything is behind. First and foremost thing, quality. And good to hear more than 8,000 students are studying in his various institutes. That's very nice. And the legacy what his dad had passed, he's following that. In fact, he's got the opportunity to travel, but he hasn't. In fact, by academics, he's a civil engineer, structural engineer. He's got great knowledge. The best part is young, but he's looking after 12 to 13, 14 institutes under his umbrella. That's very nice of you, Mr. Fasi. Honestly speaking, I look forward to see best of the best academician coming from your institute. By this, I just want to say a big thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.